Hey guys, welcome to the National Childcare Owners Association Childcare Chats. Today is March the 22nd, 2022 at promptly 1 p.m., a little after, but it's going to be all right. Today's topic that we're going to be talking about is leading ladies in childcare. So, we all know that empowering women is essential to the health and social development of families, communities, and countries. Women live safe, fulfilled, and productive lives they can reach their full potential. Doing so contributes additional skills to the workforce and produces happier and healthier children. So this history celebrates
Doing
observance
so
International
contributes
Women's
additional skills to the workforce and produces happier and healthier
global
children.
celebration dedicated to uplifting women, honoring their achievements. But this feel good day did not start as an International Women's Day. It started out from just celebrating your average woman. So today, the NCOA board is welcoming our special guests, Stacy B. and Jarletha McDonald, to discuss leading ladies in childcare. So thank you for joining us today, Miss Stacy B. How are you?
Hello, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I am well. I'm excited to get on and discuss this topic with you all. I thank you for the opportunity and looking forward to getting into it.
Yes. Hey, Jolita, how are you?
Hey Asia, how are you? I'm doing well. Hey you guys. Nice to meet all of you guys. Hey Daphne.
It's nice to have you for today's topic. So, can you guys just start by telling us a little bit about yourself, your company, and how you've chosen to position yourself in childcare?
Mm-hmm. Well,
I can go first. I'm Stacey Byers from New Orleans. My company is It Takes a Village Academy. I'm a multi-center owner. And really, it started from working in the child development centers of the United States Air Force. I was working there for a while. Of course, as you all can imagine, you have to pour a lot of yourself into the children, into the parents. There were parents PCS and deploy, and I mean, some suicidal, at moments. So I realized, I've been working all these years with the men and women of the armed forces. I've been in different countries, different states, and I was like, I'm sure I can do something the same back in my hometown. So I decided to move back home, started working again in daycare, and everything just started rolling for me to have my own. Opened my first center in 2014. With God's blessing, we was able to open another center in 2020. And literally, my mission is to be a support to the family as a whole. So that's what I strive to do. That's the culture I try to build within my community. And so far, God has been blessing us to do so.
Yes. Well, kudos to you, Miss Stacy B.
Thank you.
Definitely need it. Mr. Letha, how are you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
well, hey everyone. My name is Jarletha McDonald, and I'm an early childhood specialist and family child care business consultant and host of the Jarletha McDonald Show. But I started in family child care. 15 years ago, I was a lab tech in the hospital, lost my job, and I was keeping children in my home. My husband came home one day and said, you know what, you need to start childcare. And so that's exactly what I did. Changed my major to child development and family studies, knocked that out. And then my family childcare grew. The first day I opened, I was full with 12 children, and it just grew from there, And then during COVID, I lost my childcare did not pick back up, but that was because I was already going in another route, and that is like advocacy and leadership development. And I also formed my organization, ADFW Family Childcare Network, where I train and mentor family childcare professionals and some childcare center owners on professional development, business management, leadership, and advocacy. And also I'm on several boards, and I'm on a National Family Childcare panel where I am the co-chair, and I I lead other family child care providers across the country about advocacy and leadership. And I'm also on the Texas Governor Early Learning Board, where I also represent family child care providers across the state of Texas. And so I'm in a leadership position now to where I can train and make room for other family child care providers and early childhood educators across the country.
Wow, you said a mouthful.
And then some more, I was like, let me just stop. But let me say this. I want to say this. I sometimes I say all my titles, but it's just so much because we don't have a lot of time. But I'm going to say this. I say all of that because my ancestors could it and made a way so that we can. Right. And so thank you all for what you guys are doing and the trailblazing stuff you guys are doing across the country too, because I see y'all too. So thank y'all for having me.
Oh, well, thank you. You ladies are killing it. You're definitely killing it. Again, my hat is off to you all because, again, we definitely bear the load. Childcare, the entire industry is thought of women taking charge, being their own bosses, doing what is best. And you said it best, Jolita, when you talked about leadership. So I want to just kind of zone in on that. What would you say is your leadership style?
You know what? I'm more, maybe, I have several different types of leadership style, but like maybe one of them that sticks out to me is I lead by doing, basically, right? So and then so you have to talk the talk and walk the walk, right? And so that's my leadership style. Everything that I do, I train other family child care providers and other early childhood educators as well. So I lead by doing also. And I'm a huge mentor, right? I do a lot of mentoring and pouring into other providers because I see their gift and I spot that soft spot for them, that where they need to be elevated and lifted up. So that's my type of leadership style. I show them what to do, and then I give them the tools and resources to do it and implement it. And then I step back and let them lead and let them do it. So that's the type of leader I am.
Awesome. Miss Stacy, how do you lead your organization?
I would have to say I agree with Jolita. It's pretty much you have to get in there and be able to model for them. Again, one of the biggest things is building a big culture environment in my center and within my community. So if I am wanting to pour into the families, elevate and uplift the families as a whole, I need to get in and be hands-on, showing my teachers, my directors, and my leaders how to do so. I really feel that the more that I'm interactive with them and showing them my style of leadership, that's the better it translates into them doing so for our families.
Oh my gosh, absolutely wonderful. It looks like we have a few people that's joining us in from the chat. I know Rayshawn and Joy, they're joining us in from the chat. They're moderating, so we may have some comments that comes through. Coach Daff, can you tell us about your leadership style?
Well, my leadership style is basically like the other young ladies. I like to be hands-on. I like to show my staff and everybody that's connected to me exactly how it should be done and set the standards. Because when I first started in this industry, I had no one that looked like me that can show me the way. So I model myself by saying, I'm going to be that person to show you the standards and exactly how it should be done. So I kind of model a lot of things and I show them exactly what I want to be done. That's the type of leader that I am. And it's simply because I had no one that looked like me that was doing what I was doing when I first started. So I like to be that example for others to follow.
That's good, being the example, and which ties into our next question. How do you keep your staff members on track with maintaining the mission of your program? And when I say your staff members. It doesn't have to be your direct staff within your program. It could also be other people that you're leading within your organization. So I know, Jolita, you do a lot of mentorship, leadership building. You have a lot of panels that you're on. So they may not be your direct staff members, but what are some ways or tactics that tie into that question?
Well, what I do is what I say to early childhood educators: what is your vision and what is your why? And so I teach hugely on what your why is, because you have to know where you came from to know where you're going, and you have to know what you want to do, right? And so what I do is I teach, I do a leadership class, basically like really identifying what your why is. So my why is the economic development of women of color in the field of early care and education, right? And that's my professional why, and that also ties into my personal why, right? Which is the economic development and legacy building of my family. And so once I know that, right, then my path can be a little bit more clear. The speaking engagements that I take, the opportunities that I take, all have to align with that, or it's not worth my time and I don't want to do it. And so that's what I teach and train the ladies in my organization as well. What is your big thing? What do you like to do? What is your gift, right? Because if you horn in and focus on your God-given gift, you can really move mountains, right? And then also, once you focus on your gift and collaborate with other women who has a gift that's probably opposite of yours, you can really create a huge machine like you guys have created, right? And really get things moving and going. So that's what I do, is I really focus on the women, really focus on and thinking about what is their why do they do what they do? Because it that also ties into like preventing burnout, self-care, and stuff like that, and overdoing it. So really focusing in on what is your why and why are you doing it, and how would it benefit you and your family and the families that you serve. So that's what I do.
Wow. Miss Stacy.
Really for me, keeping my staff members on track with maintaining the mission of my program, it really starts from the beginning. I think when we are looking to hire and bring on new team members, whether that be a teacher, a food tech, a bus driver, your janitor person, they really have to understand what your mission is. And you have to embody that. You have to, again, as we kind of answered in the previous questions, give examples. What you want them to be able to learn has to show through before you even start to speak and communicate it. You really want to embody it. So we really do a good job of thoroughly going through our candidates, getting to know them on a personal level, seeing if they will fit within our mission. And sometimes they'll surprise you. You know, it may be somebody, we talked about this on one of the Be Elite topics one time. It may be someone who's like, oh, I don't think they'll be a good fit. But once you get them in and get them comfortable, then you see that it is a perfect fit for your organization. As for me, one of the things that I really tapped into throughout the pandemic was I found that a lot of people called on me to just kind of have conversations and consultations and communication. So I went and got my happiness coach certification. I went and got my life coach certification, really because I want to be able to continue to have these conversations and build people's capacity with finding their happy place again. And kind of like what Jolita was saying, if they figure out why they're doing it and if this is for them to do, then it'll be a smooth transition. But one of the ways to get to that is being sure that we're keeping people at a good place with themselves personally. You know, we have to, we it's easy to say this is all business. We're gonna treat it like a business. There's no personal to it. But reality is, like we said, we get into childcare because of our hearts and not our heads. So the personal does blur the line. So the more you get to know your staff, the more you get to build with them and empower them and consult them and uplift them, the better it is to help them stay on track with the overall mission of our programs.
Yeah, it's definitely the center of it, making sure that they have the upkeep and that they stay empowered along the way. I think that's kind of been the biggest thing for my staff throughout this time, is making sure that everyone stays engaged, committed to our overall mission, which is children. We may not be able to all have the same skill set, but one thing we can do is be committed to helping the children and making sure that the next generation is set up for success. So it's crucial. It can can be very time consuming and overwhelming, but we definitely just make sure to have some of those checks and balances in place to make sure to say, hey, did I check in with this person? Are they still engaged with the program? Are they clear on the mission, goals, and values of this organization? So it's going to be very important. Yes, yes. All right. So with that being said, we're going to pop over to our chat. We may have a few questions that's coming through from Facebook or our YouTube live channel. We've got a few comments that's in here. It looks like Mr. Warren says, oh, okay, he just repeated the question. How would you ladies encourage a new director to be empowered in their program?
Well, for me, it just goes back to being hands-on. You got to get to know the person. You have to get to know if they're going to be a good fit. And I'm not one to be a hover over people. Like, I've been big on creating SOPs, but standard operating procedures or protocols, but I've also been big on modeling them, showing them hands-on directions. But I believe that sometimes the closer you stay to them, the more they'll depend on you to kind of walk them through and see it to the end. So once you know that you've provided them written documentation, once you know that you've been there a few times to model and support and encourage them through them, then you need to step back. You need to give them the floor to have the confidence in themselves to make those decisions, to make those calls. Even if every now and then they may need to filter it through you just for that confidence boost, that's okay. But the more that you're agreeing, or you know what, you really handled that the correct way, I feel confident you're going to do great in this, then you let them flourish. I'm not a hubba mother. I don't like to micromanage. I don't like to sit over people. So I think once you know that you've done your due diligence with providing them the tools and modeling it, you have to let them fly. You have to let them go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I will also add knowing what their vision is and what their mission is for their program, and also knowing whatever state they're in, their licensing regulations from front to back. They have to know that from front to back, right?
Definitely.
And making sure that their staff knows that as well, and also making sure that their staff know what their vision is and mission is. So the staff should be able to say that vision and mission right off the bat, and everything that center encompass should run off of that. So everybody in the center should know the vision and mission, and also self-care, right? That is a lot. That is a big one to feel empowered, because as in our profession, in any profession in the human sciences field, right, it's a lot of we care. We do it because we care, but at the same time, we need to step back and care about ourselves and our own tempo and make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, because burnout is real. And so you cannot pour from an empty cup. So that's one of the first things I would say is, what are you doing to take care of yourself, right? What are you doing to make sure that you can keep going, to keep your center going, or whatever program you have going? Because I'm talking from experience as well. You have to make sure that you're pouring into yourself and also educating yourself. Continue education as well. So that's a big one. That's what I would say. And so, like Miss Stacy said, I wholeheartedly agree.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for that question in the chat box, guys. So next question on the floor. If none of our other panel members have anything to add about empowering directors, our third question is, who are your role models, and name one significant thing you learned from them? Miss Stacy, how about we gonna start with you, Miss Stacy? Come on, Miss Stacy. Who's your role
Well,
model?
I'm gonna say this. So I'm the youngest of 19 children for my dad's side of the family. I'm the youngest of my mom's children as well. And as things start to turn over for me in business, my dad was exactly like 50 years older than me. So I wasn't around a lot when he was younger and moving and trying to build and get things going. But a lot of that side of the family, my brothers and sisters tell me how what I am doing now is something my father and his twin sister tried to do for a long time. Have that entrepreneurship, that financial freedom, build a legacy. So I must say I have to contribute a lot of my thrive to keep going. Although he's passed, I feel like I do believe he's looking down. He's very proud of me, and that makes me want to keep going. I'm the first of my generation, the first of my family to actually achieve what we have achieved thus far. So I don't know if it's correct to say he's my role model, because again, I wasn't you know, like I said, he was 50 when he had me. So I wasn't around when he did a lot of his moving and stuff, but the testimony through our family just kind of helps me feel secure that I am on the right path. I am doing the right thing. He is looking down and proud. And that means a lot to me as a family and a legacy thing.
That's sweet.
That's a hard one. I have so many. Okay, let me pick two. So from my family, I would say it was my grandmother, right? I was raised by my grandmother, and she showed me. I always say I had the best of both worlds, right? So my mom played a huge part in raising me as well. So I got to see both sides, right? I learned my hustle and grit and grind from my mother, and I learned how to make things happen from my grandmother, right? And making sure that I give back. And so in my heart, and my giving heart definitely came from my grandmother, right? But then also in the field, my role, I have a couple. Dr. Valora Washington is the former CDA CEO of the CDA Council. She is a huge role model of mine. She's passion driven. She's been doing this work for so long, and then I can call on her and get little nuggets all the time. And then also Maria Cox Mitchell. She used to work at NAYC. Now she runs a foundation. For two reasons, she's my role model, right? Because representation matters, right? And having people look like you matters. So if you guys don't know me, you haven't seen me in person, I'm 6 feet tall. And so I went to this conference one day, and I seen this lady walking down the street. I was walking down the hall, and I was with one of my other mentors who was also 6 feet tall, Raquel Washington. So seeing these two powerful Black women in the field of early care and education that is doing the same thing that I'm doing, and I'm walking in that footsteps, really spoke it just spoke volumes for me, because I seen someone who looks like me, and I look like them, and they're doing this work, and they also give me great nuggets in this field. So those just a couple.
Those are some good ones. I give you that. Yes. I think I'm a piggyback.
Rolling. It's a couple on here. I see Brandy. Yep. Brandy's one. She's on. I can see. Yes. Now Brandy's my girl. Yes. She's a Texas. I'm a Texan, as y'all don't know. Texas. Hey. And so and you guys, actually, because with this being Women's History Month, we're all in this field, we're doing so much, right? And then the history of childcare, right? The history of childcare looks like us, right? And so when I see other women that look like me, and men, let me get a shout out to the men, right, and the husbands. When I see women and men who look like us, who are trailblazing in this field, I give kudos. I'm huge fans of all you guys, right? And just to think how women in history, how they couldn't do what we were doing, and how what we are doing is making them proud and happy. So all you guys are my role models, and I'm a cheerleader for every last one of you guys. I really am. I watch all y'all Instagrams and Facebook stuff. Enjoy too. Yeah.
Well, we definitely appreciate that, Rolita. Let's see here. You mentioned men. So Todd, Executive Director, who are your role models? And name one significant thing you learned from them.
My first role model, of course, is my mom. To be quite honest, my mom works with us, my wife and I. She's our lead dietitian, and I learned from her. And this is how I kind of govern the business. Rules are rules, and they're in place for a reason. So we have to set a standard, set a line, and that way we know when people cross it that they're in violation. So my mom is an instrumental point in my life, in my upbringing, and how I handle critical situations. So my mom would be one. My grandma would be, of course, the big dog, as we would do that way. And then after my grandma, it'll be one of my uncles, who's an entrepreneur. My uncle Idris, as he's known now, was a street guy, and turned it all around and made a lot of money and did a lot of good things and positive things in the community. And I patterned myself after him, making sure that what I do has a positive impact on the community. And so those are my role models.
Well, I
That
would
was
like to piggyback off of what Ty said. My role model was also my mother. She was my first role model. And it's crazy how we talk about childcare because my mother, she didn't work because she had medical conditions. And because she didn't work, she would watch everybody's kids and everybody else in the family. You know, I come from a business. You know, my family all own businesses and all do a lot of good things, and they would have to work. So what they would do was they would drop their kids off at my mother's house, and my mother would babysit these kids. And that's crazy because she was like a childcare owner unofficially, and that's where childcare plays a part because people have to have their kids be somewhere safe and secure while they pursue their businesses, while they pursue their goals. Someone have to
Mhm.
watch these children. Someone have to raise these children. That's why y'all play a very important role in this process, all of y'all, because y'all are holding on to the seeds of the future in childcare. So my greatest role model is childcare owners, all of y'all, because y'all play a pivotal role in this process.
yes, yes.
Yes.
We definitely do play a pivotal
I did
role.
child care role model.
Thank you.
Child care role model is Dr. Ida B. Wells from Memphis.
Ooh. Mm.
Yep. That's a good one.
Yeah, so
Good.
I have another question. Yeah, I have another question. Like, you all have role models that put y'all in position. What would you say to the younger generation that's looking up to y'all? What would you say to empower them to be, to operate in their greatness in their journey of being child care professional?
Mm,
Well, for me, I would just have to say you really have to take time and figure out who you are, what you want out of life. I think I know you're speaking about the younger generation. One of the biggest problems is the pressure and the peer pressure to be someone else or to do something somebody else is doing. You really have to sit down and see what connects with you, what makes you happy, and then live truthfully in that. I tell people all the time, you have to stop worrying about who thinks what, who gonna say what, who shot John. You have to put yourself first. The more you operate and live for other people, the less of yourself that the world is going to be able to know. So my main thing is be true to yourself. Take time and figure out who you are. You don't have to be a part of a crowd, a group, a gang. Literally some of the best time when I'm able to figure out what Stacy's next move, what Stacy needs to do next, what will help Stacy mentally, physically, spiritually is when I'm sitting by myself and I have time to not have everyone else's chatter or
mm,
opinions get into my aura. So my thing would be you can do it, but you need to be sure on who you are. Figure out who you are and what you want.
mhm. Yes, I agree with Miss Stacy. She is saying the exact same things I would say is making sure that you know who you are and take your time. It's not a rush. I wish I can go back to when I was 15. Right? Don't rush. And then also write, journal sometimes, right?
Yes.
Write down those ideas, right? And also think outside the box. This generation has so many resources and tools they can do. I mean, they can move mountains. They can run a company from their bedroom, basically, you know?
Absolutely.
So just think outside the box, educate yourself, take your time to educate yourself and find out what it is that you're good at and what you like to do. And don't worry about what no one else says, right? Someone may think your idea is stupid, but guess what? 10 years later, it's going to make you rich or make you build your legacy because you believe in it. So do what you believe in. And also listen to your elders, listen to your mama and your daddies, your grannies, all them. We know what we're talking
Hmm.
about. We've been there before. Okay. I have 3 children, 2 girls, right? 21 and 22. So I've been through it. You know, they go through that stage where they think they know everything, right? They don't. Listen to your mothers and your aunts and stuff like that, and your fathers as well. That's very important. Listen to us because we know what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Boom, there it is. I think question 4 was already answered. You do believe that it's essential to be available to mentor others, reach back and guide those that are of the younger generation, because childcare is changing. It's changing every day. The way we do business has changed just because of the pandemic. And now as we enter into this world of innovation and technology, just moving things forward, it's important to make sure that they understand some of those key core essential values and how did they begin. So, boom. All right. I'll put the time because I do believe we have another question that was left in the chat. This will be the last question that we will take in from the chat. It looks like Miss Brandy Woods has a question. She
Good
said,
question.
Yes.
how can we advocate more for our industry? And she says, you two are great at that.
Thank you, viewers. Thank you. I would just say you have to plug in. I am also on the I'm on the board of directors for Childcare Association of Louisiana. We do a lot of advocacy. We go to the legislative. We actually sit in on the bills. I mean, you so at one point when we all were involved in childcare, it was like, okay, this is what they're going to pay us. This is what they said we can do, and this is what we're going to do. As things evolved, as things change, we have to start knowing who those key players are and making those decisions. We have to start communicating more with our parents about the power of our vote, the power of speaking up for what we believe, speaking up for what will benefit us. Our parents is huge in being sure that we are able to capture some of the funding that's coming in, capture some of the changes in the regulations that's coming in. I personally believe, and I'm sure some of you all too, there's somebody sitting down at a desk somewhere just writing all these rules for childcare. Never once actually worked in the center, never once actually participated in the center, never once really even sat down and had those communications with owners and directors of our communities to see what the regulations and rules need to look like. I think it's very important that we think outside of the box as owners and directors, that we push into our staff as well as our parents and our grandparents and our communities the power of their voice, how important it is to fund childcare properly, how important it is to write the right regulations and rules for our industry. So my thing is we have to come from behind the desk in a sense, in an aspect, and start being more vocal about our beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I will pick up what she just said. Your voice is your currency, right?
Yes.
And our voice matters and our voice carries weight. And the childcare profession is ran mainly by women of color. We make up 40% of the U.S. childcare industry, right? And so our voice matters, right? And so also I would say, like she said, participate in your stakeholder meetings. And what that means is like when your state childcare licensing agency in Texas is called Childcare Regulations, if a rule is about to change or something like that, they always send out notifications. Attend those stakeholder meetings. Those stakeholder meetings are most likely are going to be in the day, right? And so I know a lot of childcare providers or early child educators, they say this, you know what, it's in the day, I can't make it. You know what, it's our job to make it, right? You just have to find someone else that can run your center at that time. Or, like we talk about leadership and building up leaders, have someone in your center that can take that plate, or also build a community of practice, right? Build your own community of practice, build your own tables, right? Because a lot of times we say we want a seat at the table. Guess what? We have seats at those tables, right? We need to use our voice at those tables and we need to claim those seats at those tables. And what I mean by that is, there is a lot of different organizations, a lot of grassroots organizations, or early learning coalitions in your cities, right? They say sometimes they look for early childhood educators. That may be true, that may be not. But guess what? We can look for them and you can go claim your space at that table. And while you're claiming your space at that table, guess what? Bring them to your table, your community of practice that you build, and invite them to your table. And also get to know your state representatives. And it starts locally. That's what I tell people. Advocacy starts right in your backyard, your mayor's office, your city council. That's where you can move mountains and make a lot happen. And guess what? Once you get to know your city council officials, your state representatives, who represents you in your county, in your city, you are their constituent, right? They look for people like us, right? And then you can call them. I can call my state representatives in my area right now, and they are very child care friendly, right? And I will call on them all the time, and I will call them out. And guess what? they will call on me too, because they know my face and they know the women in my, not just my face though, they know the faces of the women in my organization too, because I bring them right along with me. And so that's the second one. So this is my jam right here, so I can keep going on this. And so, but I was just saying, advocate at the local, state, and federal level. Now, all these states, every last state in the United States have something called ARPA funds, right? And those ARPA funds are our tax dollars, right? And we should be able to speak to that. So I know in every state, it looks different a little bit in every state, they're having meetings somewhere. It's your job, our job, to find out where. They're having meetings on how they're going to spend these funds down. Our state in particular has $4.3 billion. And you better know we're speaking to that, like what's going on with that and how that money is going to be spent. Your state has money too. It's different in each state. And so not only are the ARPA funds designated for childcare, not only is it earmarked for childcare, guess what? Your city and your state has ARPA funds too, right? And some of that money is also earmarked as well. But it's our job to find out where that money is and how we can speak to that money. And that is building relationships. So I would say build relationships with your local and your state representatives, even if they're Democrat, Republican, whatever. Childcare is the bipartisan top topic. So I wouldn't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Guess what? I'm caring for children, right? And it doesn't matter if the children red, black, white, Republican, whatever. They all deserve equal. They all deserve high quality childcare education, and the families I deserve those funds as well. So it's our job to find that money and speak to it and participate in making your voice heard. So that's what I'll say about that.
Let me also say this. What I like about this type of platform, and some of the other ones that we have is there's so many childcare owners and directors that's coming together, getting the knowledge, learning the information, and willing to work towards the greater goal. What I try to do specifically in my community, and you all may can attest to this, but how many of you all know there's like 5 to 10 daycare centers right around you, and you know who owns it or you know who's directing it, but you don't really have any type of relationship, any type of communication with them. What's important to me is we get to know our next door neighbor and who around the corner in these centers. We have the day for it's a secret. Shh, don't tell nobody else what we're doing to get these kids. That time has come and gone. I think more of us are more on definitely more of us are along the line that there is power in numbers. We are greater together. So it is still my belief that we definitely need to be reaching out and having some type of relationships with your center owners and directors right in your own community. If, as you are speaking, as we advocate for where these ARPA funds are going and where these new city seats or grants or this change in legislative going, some people don't tune in. Like some people want the change, but they don't tune in like we are. So those of us who have a platform, have a voice, it's our duty to be able to pull them in, get them on board, let them know this is what's going on in our industry right now. This is what we need you to do to help us be sure that we all are able to come up and elevate and get a better deal out of whatever the new legislative or changes in our communities. So I just want to say that I love the platform you all provide. I know Ms. Brandy's on. I love the platform she's provide. We are all people from different states and different cities and different communities getting on these calls. But in a personal level, we need to be able to reach out to those people that's in our own backyard and our own door so we can work collectively on making the change that we know is beneficial for this elite field.
Yes. Yeah, she said it.
You ladies are on fire. And when I tell y'all, I appreciate it because guess what? It needs to be said. It's so important. It is so important to reach out to everybody that's around because the children need our help. That's all. The children need our help, and in any way that we can reach out to be able to help them, whatever, regardless of our skill set, it's our duty to do so. It's our duty to do so. I think you guys gave like the ultimate advice on, what advice would you give to women who plan to lead their childcare organization someday? Maybe we can hit it back to the panel. Daphne, do you have anything to add regarding our last question before we begin to close out? I think she'd be able to.
The advice that I would give is basically what the other women said. Is build relationships. It's all about building those relationships. Like they said, nowadays it's not just about one child care center. It's about building communities and building the child care, the ECE community. And we're only going to be able to do that by connecting and collaborating each other, and collectively putting our voice, letting our voice be heard, and just working together and knowing that there's no competition in this industry. It's going to take all of us in order for us to be able to set the standards and provide quality care across the board, and be able to impact children's lives, and change generations to come. Because if you read some of the blogs, and they say that a lot of people have left childcare, the childcare industry. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. There is a new day, and there's groups of individuals and women and men in the industry that are leading the way in the fight to say that we're in early childhood education, and this is a $1 billion industry. We don't babysit, we educate children, and we provide quality care, and those voices
Yes.
need to be heard collectively, in order for us to be able to change the trajectory of children's lives and the community, and let the legislation and everybody know that child care is here to stay. We're not going anywhere, because you need us. Everybody needs us, because we're on the move. So yeah, I'm excited about this industry. I don't know about y'all, but I live and breathe early childhood education, and that's what it's all about. We've been on the mission with National Childcare Owners Association to change the standards and show that there are childcare owners that set standards, and there is a bar that has to be set, and we're raising it. And I'm excited about this journey we're on. I don't know about y'all, but I'm super excited about it.
Right with you.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. So as we come to a close, ladies, if you guys want to share your contact information, so how our listeners, our viewers are able to get in contact with you, you guys drop some jewels, some nuggets. It just may be someone looking for mentorship. Please go ahead and share your social media information, so that way people can keep in contact with you.
Go ahead, Jalita, because I know you have like 50 things to list off. You got it going on, baby.
Well, I created a link tree just because of that.
Right.
The link tree is Jalita McDonald. I just created it not too long ago. So, but you can follow me on Jalita McDonald, or just Google me and I'll pop up. But so Jalita McDonald Radio on Facebook, Jalita Mac on Twitter, Jalita McDonald on Instagram, and also you can find me on my JalitaMcDonald.org, or my organization's website. It's adfw.org, and also I would like to invite you all to our gala. As you guys know, May 6th is National Child Care Provider Appreciation Day. And so we are celebrating with a child care gala in Arlington, Texas, and everyone is invited to come. And so we are excited to have it. You can find that information on my website. So thank you guys for having me.
Well, for me, it's Stacy Bias. You can reach me on Facebook, /Stacy Bias, or SAD. I'm sorry, SDSADIE. SDSADIE. Website is MissStacyB.com. Email is talk@MissMSStacy, STACEY.B.com.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, our mission at the NCOA is to promote collaborative approaches to high quality operating standards for all childcare owners by connecting practice, policy, and research. So, if you are interested in joining our mission and receiving specialized training focused on strengthening your childcare business practices, then visit the website at www.thencoa.org and purchase a membership. I'll see you guys soon, and thank you for another episode of Childcare Chats.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you guys for having us.